Smite currently has 4 lifesteal items that we will see picked up from time to time: Devourer's Gauntlet, Bloodforge, Asi, and Soul Eater. In this video, we're taking a look at the stats these items offer compared to the price and whatever else you have to consider when buying this item, and what they can do for you. Let's start with Devourer's Gauntlet. Devourer's Gauntlet costs 2050 gold, has 25 power off the bat, and 10% lifesteal. These are relatively low values, but the item can be stacked. It has 75 stacks, which allow it to go up to 55 power and 25% lifesteal. In comparison, Masamune offers you 50 power right off the bat, just to have another item to get an idea of how much 50 power is typically worth. So overall, Devourer's Gauntlet takes a relatively long time to come online. It is not that cheap, but also not that expensive, and it doesn't have any additional benefits. The second item is Bloodforge. Bloodforge offers 75 power right off the bat, so 20 more than Devos has at max stacks. It has 15% lifesteal, so additional 5%, and it has a passive. The passive gives you a shield when you kill an enemy. You have to be the one to actually kill the target, and the shield gives you up to 400 extra health, or a shield in value of that health, and additionally 10% movement speed for 10 seconds unless someone destroys the shield. In that case, the movement speed is removed. Bloodforge is on the more expensive side, as the item costs a total of 2,850 gold. The third lifesteal item is Asi. Asi doesn't give you any power. It gives you 20% attack speed, 15% lifesteal, so as much as Bloodforge, and 15 flat penetration, which is especially good against squishy targets that don't have that much defense. Additionally, it also has a passive. The passive activates below 35% health and gives you a total 40% lifesteal in combination with the base lifesteal for 5 seconds. This is the highest value of lifesteal a single item can reach, but it only lasts 5 seconds and it obviously requires you to be on low health. Asi is the cheapest of the lifesteal items, as it only costs 1,780 gold. Last but not least, there's Soul Eater. Soul Eater also doesn't provide you with power, but attack speed. It has 30% attack speed, so an additional 10% over Asi, 20% lifesteal, but no additional penetration. However, Soul Eater also has 20 stacks. These are lost upon death, but they do quite a lot for you. They give you a total of 30% attack speed in combination with the base values, 30% lifesteal, which is the highest base value you can have outside of the Asi passive, and an additional 10% movement speed. So stat-wise, Soul Eater is already pretty good when it's fully stacked. On top of that, it also has a passive. Below 25% health, all the stacks are consumed, and each stack gives you 1.5% of your maximum health. So assuming that you have 20 stacks and your max level, you get around 600 HP on a hunter, simply because most hunters have around 2000 health. So that means the item in total has 30% attack speed, which is the highest value, 30% lifesteal, which is the highest base value, an additional 10% movement speed, and at max level 600 extra HP. It costs 2000 gold and is therefore the second cheapest lifesteal item after Asi, with Devourer's Gauntlet being relatively close in price range, whereas Bloodforge is a lot more expensive. So, which of these items should you get when and why? Devourer's Gauntlet is just not good at the moment. It doesn't provide you with enough. 55 power is not that much, 25% lifesteal is not that much, and even if it doesn't lose stacks, it's just not that great. Soul Eater is the best item for hunters in almost any situation. The base stats of the item are great, and when it's stacked, it is really, really good. And the fact that you're basically able to sustain an additional shot from a late game hunter means that you're going to outbox another hunter every time, but it also helps you in team fights. If you get focused down, you're going to be able to survive a lot more. So overall, this item is extremely strong. Even in other roles, it can be picked. For example, certain attack speed assassins can pick it up. The only time you should not pick this item over the other lifesteal items is when you're absolutely sure that you won't be able to get your stacks back. This can happen in a game that you're really behind and you're basically pressured under your Titan or the Phoenixes, and you know there's no way for you to get out and get reliable amount of stacks. back, then maybe it's not the right time to get Soul Eater. But even then it can be good because, even with half stacks, it's still 300 health that you get back. So overall, I don't honestly see any reason not to pick Soul Eater, and I think the item in itself is way too strong at the moment. I think even without the 600 health back, it would still be a strong item. It would not be picked over the other lifesteal items because then those would be stronger. But it would still not be a bad item by stats alone. So, 99% of the time as a hunter or attack speed based character, I would say just go Soul Eater because there's no reason to go anything else. But where are the places when you should go anything else? There's Asi. Asi has the benefit of being a little cheaper, giving you flat penetration, which means if you're already really ahead and you really just want to outtrade the enemy hunter and you think you can box through the Soul Eater and you think you're in that much of a lead that you can fight that, then Asi can be good. If you have a huge problem of being like way, way, way behind, then Asi can be good because it doesn't need to be stacked. And once again, it's a little bit cheaper, basically roughly a wave cheaper. So Asi has a very niche existence where it can be good if you want to maximize your DPS or you just don't see any room to stack Soul Eater. Also, if you think you don't need the max DPS but you want the crazy sustain, then a combination of Soul Eater and Asi can be really good. That way you get most of both passives basically. As you drop below 35% health, you get 40% lifesteal. That passive lasts on even if you get higher health after the Soul Eater proccing as well. So you're rarely going to die if you have both of them, I think. At a cost of DPS, but not that much after all. And then there's Bloodforge. Bloodforge is weird. Bloodforge suffers from what I will call the Kali passive problem. Kali used to have a passive that only procced when you kill the target. Now she also gets healings on assists, but back then she only got heals on kills. And this is what Bloodforge does. So you rely on your team to give you the last hit on a target just so your passive is active. This is already kind of bad by design because you want to blow up a target as fast as possible. And you don't want to have to wait, so you also don't want to save your abilities just to get the last hit. So that's kind of a problem in itself, though some players have that mentality anyways. In team fights, this is obviously not working that well because, it's a team fight. And in a 1v1, it doesn't matter. If you kill someone in a 1v1 and you get that shield afterwards, great, but what are you going to do with it? So the only situation where Bloodforge passive really helps you is when you're in a scenario with, for example, you only have your support with you who is most likely not going to take a kill, or you're in a 1v2 or 1v3. Because there you can actually make use of the passive by killing someone and then moving on to the next target. But the passive isn't that great. It isn't as good as it sounds on paper. The shield is a maximum of 400 compared to the roughly 600 health you get back from Soul Eater. And the movement speed benefit isn't that great either. It's 10% that only lasts as long as the shield is up. So if anyone deals 400 damage to you, which is not a lot late game, then the shield's gone already and the movement speed is gone as well. So there's not too much of a point on hunters especially to get this item. The good thing about this item is that it has so much raw power. In certain builds, it can just spike your DPS because it's such a single high power item, like only really matched by Transcendence. But you need an accurate, like a corresponding amount of penetration to make it work against most targets. And then there's the 15% lifesteal. That's also not that much. Assassins should be the ones making most use of this most of the time. But once again, an assassin is an ability character most of the time, and an ability character is not going to make too much use of lifesteal because abilities don't proc lifesteal. Now, if abilities did proc lifesteal, or the majority of them did, it would be a different thing, but the majority of them don't, so it doesn't really matter all that much. There are niche builds where this can be a last slot item, and you can utilize it on certain characters in combination with either having that really high power, having a strong purely ability-based build, or just, needing a little bit of a sustain late game with no actual defense on it and a little bit of power. But most of the time, they're just going to be choices that are a lot better. Like, for example, Stone Cutting Sword is just almost always better on characters that use basic attacks, so they benefit from the heal, and also deal damage. So you basically have to get both in a build already to make it worth it, which can happen, but it's not that often. So overall, Soul Eater is king, Asi is a nice supplement, Bloodforge is a nice niche item, and Devos, as sad as that is trash at the moment. I would like to see Soul Eater being nerfed eventually because the item just offers way too much, and I would like to see more variety, especially in Hunter builds again. I hope this video was informative. Thank you guys for watching. Yxloth, out!